Nick Cantin's report. Dear Mrs. Foster, today I went to the famous refuge in the Silver Spiegel Mountain where that picture was painted, the one that Kate Walker seems to have become so obsessed about since her escape from the mine. I was expecting it to be one heck of a long journey to reach the refuge, but on the way, I bumped into a group of alpinists and technicians from the Institute of Forensic Medicine of Vaghen. It turned out they were also heading near the refuge, more precisely to the foot of the infamous pass known as Devil's Pass, to carry out some macabre work. I'll spare you the grim details. Anyway, they kindly offered me a lift to the refuge in their helicopter. Once there, I made the acquaintance of the manageress of the place, a sour-tempered old woman named Lenny. A sly and taciturn old-timer, she wasn't exactly an easy witness to question, if I can tell you. All the more so as our meeting took place under the watch of a kind of hired help, who must assist the old woman on a daily basis. He was a colossus of a guy and was careful to make himself visible to me while at the same time keeping his face well in the semi-darkness of the common room. Typical intimidation tactics which, of course, were totally useless against me. I mean, I'm from New York, right? I managed to winkle the confirmation out of the old dame that Kate Walker had been to the refuge and had questioned the old lady on events that took place in the summer of 1937. Fräulein Lenny ended up caving and begrudgingly told me everything she knew. She spoke a lot about a certain Dana Rose. That's the young woman on Miss Walker's painting. She had apparently fallen for an alpinist by the name of Leon during that summer. All this was during preparations for a secret expedition known as Origin. Financed by the Brown Shadow, it was recorded on film by a female filmmaker in vogue at the time, a certain Hunda Steinhoff. Apparently, this Leon, following a disagreement with a Brown Shadow militiaman, was forced by the fascists to go with the expedition to a faraway land they call Baltair, so causing a painful separation with this Dana Rose. Armed with this knowledge, Kate Walker then continued her research the following day at the Academy of Music of Vaghen. That's where I'm headed now to continue my investigation.
Oh, gosh, what a day. I hope Oscar's okay, wherever he is. I'm not abandoning him. I just need to find him. Closed. It's late. Frau Wagner must have gone to bed. No results about Dana. She probably never got famous. It's a shame that Demoiselle Lenny is so modest about having been a member of the Resistance. She's a true hero.
April 14th, 2005. The ceremony commemorating the 60th anniversary of the liberation of Vaghen took place under a clement sky. The procession first passed down Vaghen's symbolic memory lane. A heartfelt tribute was given to resistance fighters who indefatigably fought against the fascist invaders throughout the occupation period. most of the remaining survivors were able to make the journey and deliver moving speeches that deeply touched the assembly. As a reminder, 60 years ago, all the resistance groups of Vaghen fought alongside the Red Army and Allied forces to retake the town and Osterthal from the Brown Shadow. There was, however, just one disappointment. Leni Renner, the well-known manageress of the refuge of Silberspiegel and one of the most revered and emblematic resistance fighters of our town, once again refused to join the commemoration. Our local icon describes her refusal as her own particular way of paying tribute to her comrades fallen in combat, and should be taken without the slightest hint of controversy. Given the thunderous applause that punctuated the old lady's name when called out at the podium, this sense of decency and discretion was perfectly understood by all present.
Junta. Demoiselle Leni told me a lot about her. But was she some kind of spy?
Born in London in 1912 of Austrian parents, Junta Steinhoff is a filmmaker and photographer. She is famous for her major aesthetical influence on the cinema of the 1930s. She was at the center of several controversies over her presumed role during the Second World War. Initially accused of collaborating with the Brown Shadow, for whom she made several commission films, Junta Steinhoff later was found to have worked for the Allied secret services, especially the British. Biography. The filmmaker lived in London until 1935. She loved mountaineering, sports and photography, which led her to following the international winter sports competitions for different newspapers and specialized magazines. She sojourned regularly in the Alps, especially in the area situated in Osterthal. Fluent in German and keen to meld in with the population of Osterthal, the filmmaker chose the artistic pseudonym of Junta Steinhoff, so borrowing her mother's maiden name while giving a nod to her Germanic origins and to the heroine of the Montan film Das Blaue Licht, 1922, filmed by the very controversial Leni Riefenstahl. Junta Steinhoff dedicated a large part of her work to filming mountaineers come from the four corners of the world to challenge the renowned rock faces of Osterthal. The beauty of youth and the magnificent landscapes combined in her aesthetical vision, so nurturing her passion for both the cinema and photography. Junta Steinhoff was accepted into the very close circle of Osterthal alpinists. Hungry for outstanding records, this circle was in those days very politicized and said to be close to the fascist idea of the Brown Shadow. These ideas were exemplified by the conquest of untouched peaks, exalting the supposed virtues of a so-called superior race whose pureness was equated, according to the racist ideology, to that of snow-capped summits. It was during this period that Junta Steinhoff was commissioned to make films for the Brown Shadow. The political movement soon went from fake patron to financer of pure propaganda. Yet, when the Second World War broke out, the artistic aura of the filmmaker enabled her to promote her films both in the capitals of the Axis powers as well as in a fair number of Allied countries. It was revealed that Junta took advantage of these trips to supply precious information to the Allied forces, and especially to the Foreign Office in London, who preventively approached the young woman during the rise of the Brown Shadow in the 1930s. Upon the liberation of Osterthal, Junta Steinhoff was detained for a few days for her role in the Brown Shadow's propaganda machine. Her status as a double agent soon enabled her to be cleared. The filmmaker has since kept to herself, having returned to live in her native England.
Nothing relevant. The expedition mustn't have led to any major breakthrough, I guess.
Founded at the beginning of the 19th century, the Academy of Music quickly became a veritable Vaghen institution. The Academy trained many generations of internationally acclaimed musicians, especially pianists, so contributing to the cultural influence of the town the world over. The Academy is also an architectural curiosity. Built on Vaghen's main square, its prodigious world-famous automaton orchestra attracts thousands of tourists and music lovers every year from around the world. The Academy is a place of great importance in Vaghen history and played a crucial role in the tragic events of the Second World War. following the annexation of Osterthal by the Brown Shadow in 1938, and by extension of Vaghen, the Brown Shadow turned the academy into an Oberfeldkommandantur or Highfield Command. Opening the archives has since enabled historians to prove that its soundproof rehearsal rooms were used by the Brown Shadow as prison cells and interrogation rooms. It was in this building that the last moments of the Vaghen offensive were played out. The battle that pitched the Red Army and local resistance fighters against Brown Shadow forces resulted in the liberation of Vaghen. Following bitter negotiations with the other Allied powers, the Red Army handed over the main control of the town to America and British forces to allow the Soviets to focus on their ongoing liberation of Central Europe. The Allied forces then made the Academy their general headquarters, so allowing time to initiate a transition of power to the relevant civil authorities. Once this was completed, the Academy once again became a prestigious place for learning music. The Academy's recent history steeped in controversy. Owing to a large decline in students over the past 20 years, it has recently been announced that the Academy is on the verge of financial collapse. The council is said to have even taken the decision to close it and to computerize the Automaton Orchestra SI, creating a tourist attraction that can function on a schedule. This decision has triggered loud outcries from the town's heritage advocates who have multiplied appeals. These appeals have all been rejected. Baltair is a Central Asian country located between Russia and China. The capital and largest town is Cantin. A former British colony, Baltair was granted independence shortly after the Second World War. It is mostly mountainous, consisting of several mountain ranges separated by valleys and interconnected by a network of caves and prehistoric galleries. 25% of the country is wooded, and is also delimited by the desert steppes as well as by Great Lakes linked together by over 50,000 kilometers of waterways. Baltair's highest peak is 4,604 meters above the sea level and is greatly prized by mountaineers from all over the world.
The more I discover about Dana, the more I get the feeling I'm only scratching the surface of Vaghen's history. Oh, but hey, let's call it a day. I really should go to bed now. Vaghen Institute for Forensic Science and Medicine. Charming. Colonel Blake. Do not disturb. Well, all right then.
Is that you, Katie?
Yes, Mom! I mean, who else can it be? Looks like Mom's friends came over again last night. She's been seeing them a lot since what happened to Dad. Maybe too much. Another letter for Dad. Last time it took Mom days to find the strength to open it. Grandpa and Grandma from New York gave it to me for my last birthday. I really ought to read it, or at least dog-ear the pages so it looks like I did. The piano that Mom ordered will soon be here. Couldn't bring myself to tell her that I wanted a drum kit instead.
Our dearest Sarah, your father and I would like to express our deepest sorrow at what happened to Richard. We are worried about your welfare, darling Sarah. You might be a fully grown adult, but we still worry about you. We wanted you so much, you were our miracle child, so even now as a young woman with a daughter of her own, it is hard for us to see you suffer. You have always been our pride and joy. Just remember, darling, we are here for you should you need us. We will always be here for you as long as we breathe. We shall be with you whatever happens in the spring for your birthday. Remember, just let us know if you want us to stay with you for a while, until you're back on your feet, and we shall be down as fast as you can say Jack Robinson. With our deepest love, Mama and Papa.
Wow, I hope I get to travel around the world too when I grow up.
Oh, hello, Munchkin.
Hey, Mom. We haven't seen Grandpa and Grandma for a long time. Mom says they'll probably come over from New York on her birthday.
Is everything okay, Katie?
You forgot your music box.
Be careful with that, please, Munchkin.
Where'd this come from?
I already told you. Your grandma and grandpa gave it to me when I was little.
Doesn't look like it's from New York, though.
I don't know. Must have been in the family forever.
I just love it.
You've always liked it. Ever since you were little.
Will you give it to me when I'm big?
Maybe, if you're a good girl, when I get old.
So when will that be then?
Later, Katie.
But when?
In a very, very long time, I guess. When I'll be gone.
Dear Kate, wherever you are now, despite the sad news it contains, I hope this letter reaches you in time.
Oh, give it a rest, Olivia. Ah, what the hell? You want me to call you Olivia? Fine. I've survived worse criticism. I shouldn't put it off. I better call Olivia while I have the courage. Who do you think you are, Olivia Foster? It's easy to judge and lecture me from New York. You know nothing about what I've gone through, of what I've had to endure since leaving Hans. Looks like I'm not the only one who can't sleep tonight. Don't know why I should be so nervous about making a simple phone call. I mean, hey, I've crossed Europe, been in all sorts of danger, and yet look at me here. I'm worrying about talking to my former best friend. Oh, and I think I used to spend my life on the phone gossiping with her. So what do I risk? Criticism? The one who missed her mother's funeral because she was breaking rocks at the bottom of a mine. In any case, Olivia hasn't stopped criticizing me ever since I left Valladolid on Hans Vorarlberg's train. I'm the one who should be criticizing her. I mean, come on. Isn't she the one who took advantage of my absence to get her hooks into Dan? Now look at me, mulling over old grudges. That's exactly what I wanted to escape from when I decided to go with Hans in his train to Syberia. And then there was the departure with the Yukon tribe, their seasonal migration. Come on, Kate, for Christ's sake, stop procrastinating. Just make the darn call and get it over with.
Hello? Hello? Mr. Cantin, is that you? Who's there, please?
Olivia, it's me, Kate.
Kate? Gee, it's so weird to hear your voice after all these years.
Got your letter, Olivia.
Kate, I sent it 2 years ago.
I know, things have been complicated.
Complicated. I see. And so when are you coming back to New York? To visit your mother's grave?
You know I can't come back, Olivia. I'm still wanted by the police over the sale of the Vorarlberg factory.
Oh, I haven't forgotten, believe me. If only you knew how much the accusations hurt your mother. Visits from the police, the requisitions, and just when she was diagnosed, too. And yet the poor woman never stopped hoping that her daughter would come back one day. Or at least call to help her in her final days.
I don't have to justify myself to you, Olivia, or to anyone else.
Kate, Okay, listen to me. I thought you had plenty of time to think about how you abandoned all of us. Me, your mother, Dan, or even that poor Mr. Cantin. And maybe felt at least some remorse. But I guess I was dreaming. All you do is keep chasing castles in the sky and ignore those who care about you.
Are you done?
Oh, Kate, I should have known. And I should never have asked you to call me. Goodbye, Kate. I hope you find whatever it is you've been looking for these past 3 years. One thing's for sure, though. You wanted to be alone, and that's how you're gonna stay.